Well, I'll give you some words to process, and that's welcome to FKA the Pod. I'm your host, Reed Wilson. I'm joined by Seth Butler and Trent Tatum. We're back
That's right.
once again.
What's
Happy
going on?
Memorial Day. Just happened this past week. It's been there, though. This has been there, because it's
Hmm,
Thursday. You
that's
know,
right. Did you guys remember all the people you were supposed to remember?
I remembered a whole bunch. I remember to wake up
Yeah.
on in time to put the hot dogs and the brats on the grill. I remember that.
Nice.
Salute to them pigs. They were delicious.
Yeah. Did you open any cans of business?
I did. Well, I mostly just drank mixed drinks, so I
Yeah.
didn't open any cans of business, but I did have some homemade lemonade mixed with vodka. So
Hmm.
my friend brought some over, some lemonade. Had some of that.
Nice, dude. I went to
But today I got Dr Pepper Zero. Back on it. Holidays over.
nice.
Back on the grind.
Sweet.
Back
I
drink. Back to drinking zero.
went
Yeah.
to a bar this weekend and had a very similar drink. It was called a Twisted Sister, and it was
I hardly
twisted
know her.
tea with lemon Deep Eddy's vodka, and it tasted like an Arnold Palmer. It's pretty sweet. Pretty good.
You guys like the
Uh,
twisted teas?
yeah, they're okay. They're not
Yeah.
bad.
We're not gonna take it. That's Twisted Sister's song.
Mm. No,
I don't know if they had any other ones, but that was theirs.
But
we take it.
I'm on my last Rainier today. This is it. The last of the Rainiers. Yeah.
Wow. We were just talking about him, so
We had some decent preamble to this one.
we should have started recording earlier, but
We had the plan
Wow.
still. Yeah. Wow.
This Maltese Falcon book, wow.
The Maltese Falcon is crazy. It's even the worst. My liver's the worst. We'll talk about that later. Dashiell Hammett. Wow, did he write a book? One of the best. It's a mystery. Who done it? I don't know. Yeah, I haven't finished it. Like one of the greatest books.
Just like a great golfer, Gary Player. You may have heard of him. He keeps on talking about Gary Player all the time now.
In this book?
No, the
Oh.
president.
Who the fuck's Gary Player?
He died like 25 years ago. He was a pro golfer in like the 70s. I don't know. It's his new thing. Anyway,
This dude is old.
Oh, yeah.
We just went from one side of the family to the other, but both of our grandparents, your grandpa's still the president. Damn.
I'm drinking a Silver Bullet Coors Light, 12 ouncer in the weird kind of skinny can, but not too skinny. And I've also got the Ryan Stellhorn Memorial Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey Shot out of the Christmas coffee mug. I think I filled it up kind of a lot tonight too on accident.
Damn.
So
You're getting fucking hammered out of that
yeah,
Christmas coffee.
filled it all the way to the top, just like what's his
Fucking-
name, Sam Spade.
Short week. Let's fucking go crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, Sam Spade be filling up these things all the way to the top. He is what I would say, and most would say, an alcoholic. That dude is.
Yeah.
We're going in
What
the
else
book
can
right
we
away,
do?
I guess. It seems.
Are we? We don't have to. I was just. Making
I mean,
some
we might as well.
offhand
It's on our mind. I'm gonna forget about it soon. I read it yesterday. I gotta get it. I gotta get all the thoughts out and then in here before they all go away.
Yeah, so we'll do that. Then,
Yeah.
then I've got some Memorial Day occurrences I want to talk about. Talk about all our favorite
Yeah.
former
All right.
soldiers who passed away.
Sweet.
Anyway, so we read like the middle third of this book, The Maltese Falcon. If you weren't here last week, we did our first iteration of book club where we talked about like the first third of The Maltese Falcon. And what we said last week was that nothing happened in the first third of the book.
Yeah. We met some people. We heard about a black statuette.
Right.
Um,
Our
What
main
else?
characters are private. Is a private eye, and he has a job, and this job got his partner killed, and then but we know nothing else happened, and that
Yeah.
all that happened in the first 2 pages. Everything else,
Yeah.
and then nothing happened for the next
Yeah.
58.
So
Now we're at 100 and something.
yeah. So we got introduced to a new character in this section, right? Who is the person
Yeah.
who hired some other people to get the Falcon for him. And we also kind of figure out what the Falcon is if what this guy has to say is true. And we also get, I bookmarked some pages just to read you some weird text. But essentially, we're just running around talking to different people, trying to get this one lady who knows about this stuff to talk about like what it is that she's doing and what the Falcon is, but she won't. And so we have to go through other means and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, if she would just like talk a little bit, this could be like a pamphlet. This could be way really cut down on trim some of the fat here if she would just open her goddamn mouth for once.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She's always lying. She's lying just 'cause.
Mm-hmm. Well, when we last left off, I think last time we talked about this, we forgot to mention maybe an important plot point that we had just gotten to, and that was that this guy named Joel Cairo, he like tries to hire Spade to find this Maltese Falcon, and Spade brings in Bridget O'Shaughnessy and Joel Cairo for a meeting together.
Yeah.
It's at
his apartment, Spade's
his apartment.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they get into like a little fight and the police show up and all of that. So that's the last chapter from last.
Yeah.
Every time this Joe Cairo and Sam Spade are in the same room, Sam Spade beats the shit out of Joe guy.
Shit out of Joe Cairo, yeah. He got beat up twice, bro.
I liked how much that Sam Spade hates the guy who's following him too. There's some like snot-nosed 19-year-old or 20-year-old kid who's following him around, and he beat that kid up too.
Do you have that page bookmarked where he like manhandles the kid?
Yeah, Sam Spade really he's a pretty piece of shit guy. Like he is. If he wasn't the hero, he'd be a bad guy.
Yeah, he'd be a goon. He'd be a goon for sure. He's
definitely morally gray at best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's the first anti-hero. Someone would say this is where Venom came from. Sam Spade.
Venom.
Yeah, adrenaline.
Oh, the other thing that we get is that both Joe at the end of this third of the book, Joel Cairo and Bridget O'Shaughnessy are both kind of like missing. Sam can't find them, Sam Spade. And they have both apparently gone to this ship, right? This is where we leave off, is there's a ship that was lit on fire. And that is important.
We did read that. Okay, good.
From
good.
Hong Kong. Yeah.
That would have been hard not to say. I actually read the next chapter for those who are at home.
Let's just give a quick synopsis of the second third of the book, right?
Yes, please do. I've been trying, but it's a lot of stuff that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
so
it's tough because there's not much that goes on, so it's hard to remember what actually does go on. But anyways, the police show up to Sam Spade's apartment. The two, Joel Cairo and Bridget O'Shaughnessy, are in there. They get into a little argument. Sam Spade basically shakes the police by being like, "Ha, we got you. That was a joke. We would see if we could joke you into coming into our apartment and trying to take us to the police station, but we got you."
I don't think this cop shit's going anywhere. Like, this shit's just boring and isn't going anywhere. I think it's just kind of filler and doesn't serve the plot. But like, he shakes the cops or whatever, or like they end the disagreement. They get into a little scuffle, blah blah blah, whatever. They leave.
That's chapter 8.
That's chapter 8.
Yeah,
that's chapter 8.
Okay, so that's the way beginning. Well, then he meets the mobster guy who's putting all this shit in order after doing some detective bullshit. You know, looking for clues and stuff. You know, looking here, looking there. His name is Gutman.
The Fat Man, aka
his name is Gutman, but they call him the Fat Man.
Yeah, his name is Gutman, which is a little on the nose.
It's true. Yes, it is.
Well, and then I think Dashiell Hammett hates fat people or something, or just he really be described. He really went in on this one fat guy who was like Sam's friend, and he went in on him and called him like a bulbous pile of shaking fat, or he just really went in on him.
I have that one bookmarked. I have that one dog-eared. Where's that? This is the first like full paragraph of describing the Fat Man. All right, there's multiple paragraphs Dashiell Hammett, every time he talks about the fat man, he has to mention that he's fat. All right? It's like part of his thing, I guess. But anyways, here's the first chapter. It says, the fat man was flabbily fat, with bulbous pink cheeks and lips and chins and neck, with a great soft egg of a belly that was all his torso, and pendant cones for arms and legs. As he advanced to meet Spade, all his bulbs rose and shook and fell separately with each step, in the manner of clustered soap bubbles not yet released from the pipe through which they had been blown. His eyes, made small by fat puffs around them, were dark and sleek. And then it talks about what he's wearing after that.
Is this third person omniscient? Is that the point of view of this?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't
feels
think
like
that,
a very much book club question.
I don't think that it's. I mean, I guess maybe it could be, but it's not like we as the reader get to know.
Yeah, but the narrator would know. We don't know everything, right?
I know, but yeah, so maybe the narrator knows, but the narrator doesn't tell us. Like,
Right.
here's what the Falcon is.
Scotty doesn't know. Got it.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Before Spade meets the fat man, though, he goes back to Cairo's apartment later on, trying to find Cairo. Doesn't find him. Finds the kid who's been following him there, and says, "Hey kid, what are you doing here? Get the fuck out of here!" And talks about Mr. G. Right? Turns out Mr. G is Gutman. Then he goes back to his office. Bridget O'Shaughnessy calls and says, "Oh, sorry." He goes to Bridget O'Shaughnessy's apartment when Bridget O'Shaughnessy is at his apartment and like
'Cause they
ransacks the
bone.
whole place for clues.
Yeah, he did
Yeah,
bone her. Sam
they
Spade's a
boned.
dog. He's
Yeah.
boning everybody.
Yeah.
So he actually does some real detective shit, breaks into this girl's apartment and
He
looks
sleeps
through
with her,
everything.
steals her key while she's sleeping, comes back.
Doesn't
and then
find
just, like-
anything in her apartment, right? Then later he goes back to his office. Bridget O'Shaughnessy is there, and she's like, "Holy shit! Somebody like ransacked my apartment. I'm scared. I don't want to go back there." And he goes, "Oh, well, you can go stay with my secretary."
Yeah.
And
And then,
then it turns
and
out she
then-
never gets to the secretary.
Because she
Yeah,
sees
she
the
never
listing
gets
in
to
the
the
newspaper
secretary.
about the boat, I think.
La Paloma, which is
La
a
Paloma.
bird
Yeah.
of some sort. I think it might be a
The
pigeon.
dove. It's a dove, specifically.
Yep. And then who is it? Iva?
Iva.
Miles Archer's wife, ex-wife, I guess. Widow. Miles Archer's widow shows up and is like, "I'm sorry, I did that thing last time we talked when
When
you
she
had
called,
that
she called the
street girl."
cops on Sam, and
she
that's
called the cops who showed up." Yeah.
yeah. So basically, she's just kind of jealous and horny, and inserting herself into the plot.
Yeah.
And Sam's a
most
piece of
annoying
shit,
character of
doesn't communicate at all, and just won't tell her anything. And is keeping her at a distance. So then there's probably more miscommunication is bound to happen. She introduces that Sam, Miles's brother, kind of doesn't like either of them because they were like having an affair, and kind of, rightfully so, and whatnot. I don't know. And then basically it turns out, oh shit, Sam went this place, Bridget went the other place. They're all lost. They go to the boat, and Sam doesn't know. Sam's not at the boat. Sam's just like at home finding out about the boat.
Yeah, he's a little behind this.
Yeah, he's playing catch up to Joe and Bridget, who are going around and finding stuff, and then also he's getting exposition from the Fat Man about what
Yes.
the Maltese Falcon is,
Yeah.
and apparently this Falcon signifies you own Malta to some degree. You own a little bit of these Maltese islands.
Malta. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
this it's like a diamond and jewel encrusted bird. So like whoever said that the other week, it's right. Yep, it's just a nice one. It's covered with something else.
So this apparently, if the Gut Man or the Fat Man is to be believed, this Falcon, it was a gift from like the Crusaders or something. The Crusaders who got really, really rich by like killing and stealing from the Arabs for a long time. Mm-hmm. They were like, "We're coming back to Europe, baby," and they asked the King of Spain like if they could have a place to live, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, you can have Malta." I don't know why he did this. But then he asked in return for them just to send him a bird every year So the first year they were like, oh, we're really grateful for this island. We're going to send you this bird that's made out of like diamonds and gold and stuff. And so that's what this is, but it's covered up, right? If
This
one
was
of the
like
themes,
what, in the 1400s?
yeah, this was a long time ago. And
They
it's been
never
passed
got there.
around through London, Paris, Rome. It's been all over the place, and people have bought it because it's covered up with black paint or black enamel or whatever. So if one of
They
the
don't have
themes-
X-ray machines yet.
No, they don't. They don't have like for your Pokemon cards. If one of the themes is lies and deception, right? The bird, the black bird itself, is deceiving you as to what it really is. If the gut man is to be believed, unless he's lying about what the bird is.
Right.
But
Do you,
they asked somebody at the university, Effie, the secretary, her brother or whatever, works at the university, and he was like, "Yeah, could be true. Whatever, maybe."
Yeah, maybe it'd be cool.
It'd be yeah, give me a
It'd be
slice
fucking
of
dope.
that.
You know,
do you
Yeah.
remember
that's Indiana
how
Jones,
much,
actually.
Do you remember how much how much Gutman said this thing is worth? He gave like a large range.
He said, well, he ends up offering Sam $50,000, but then says like on the low end, it probably like what, 250, I think was the low end.
Yeah. So he says, "I'll pay you upfront $25,000 when you give it to me, and then I'll pay you another $25,000 when I make it safely to New York, where I guess he lives and could be safe." So that's $50,000 together, which is about $1 million today's money. But then he says, if you would rather have a slice of the earnings afterwards, rather than get this $50K up front, it'd probably be like, I give you a quarter of it, which would be like 100,000 or a quarter of $1 million or whatever. So,
Yeah, damn.
you can do like 20x this would be the price today ish.
Right.
So like 100,000, what's that? 2 million or whatever would be what Spade would get if he waited.
So is it $1 million now or $2 million a year from now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or,
$1 million now.
$1 million now, or yes, exactly. Or but he said it could be 100,000 or a quarter of $1 million, so it could be $1 million now or $400,000.
$1 million now for or $1
500,000.
million later.
Yeah, kinda. Because I don't trust this guy. That's
I don't
kind of the whole.
fucking- Yeah, no.
But apparently, what happened is so. Anyway, this bird got kicked around for a long time because it was covered up in black paint. Nobody knew what it was. It ended up at this Russian general's house. This guy's name was Kimidov. And I think that the gut man, if he is to be believed, he hired Floyd, who was killed in like the second chapter, and Bridget to get the bird. And I think Joel Cairo was involved somehow. But then they got the bird from this Russian general.
Floyd.
I guess they probably killed him. But then they never gave it to the gut man. And
Well, yeah,
now,
because apparently they found out that they were never going to get paid. So, I mean, like, is Sam going to get paid by the gut man?
Yeah.
The G man?
yeah.
So, now that we're, I guess, kind of caught up.
Well, then
Yeah.
Sam gets, this whole interaction ends with Sam getting his ass beat and like getting drugged and beat up. And then he,
Yeah, and that was weird. It's like we're going to spend the whole chapter where the gut man is talking to Sam and explaining all this stuff. And then, like, if you're going to take the time to explain this, why are you going to drug him?
and then, then all of a sudden he drugs him and they beat him up. Like, like, what?
I guess the gut man has something to do with the Paloma
I think-
burning down.
I think,
Maybe.
yeah, I think they drugged him up so they could do some dirty work while he
Yeah.
was not on their tail, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know
'cause-
what that dirty
Why don't they
work
just
would
kill
be.
him?
Maybe it is setting the Paloma on fire. Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
They
why
killed all.
didn't kill him.
If these guys are killing
If
all
they
these
killed
other
Floyd,
dudes, why don't they just
yeah.
kill this guy?
Also, at one point, Sam beats up that the dude's bodyguard who's been following him around or whatever. But then he gives him the guns back afterwards. He beats him up and takes his guns, and he gives the guns back. Like
that kind of felt cool though. That felt like a power move.
it was pretty cool because he was
But it
like,
also seems like if I was that kid, I would shoot you.
yes.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the
Where he talks about how he beat him up.
Yeah, well, because he doesn't tell the gut man he beat him up. He told the gut man, he's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, your kid got beat up by like a armless,
crippled guy.
homeless person, and I had to save him from this guy." So it was pretty funny what he said to that guy.
I think it's in chapter 12.
Yeah, let's see.
I do gotta say they made some mention of food in this chapter. Like, there's a lot of food talk.
Yeah.
They're eating bread and they're eating some
Liverwurst.
nasty ass meat.
Liverwurst is
Liver, yeah, they just like, yeah, smearing the liverwurst on the bread, on the rolls. Whether they got corned beef.
yeah.
Like, I can't imagine any of that being good. I'm like, what is this, 1920?
Yeah. So I've got this.
It's 100-year-old. The story's happening 100 years ago.
So he put the coffee pot on the stove and was slicing a slender loaf of French bread. And then he spread liverwurst on, or put cold corned beef between the small ovals of bread he had sliced. Then he poured the coffee and added brandy to it. So they're having coffee and brandy and liverwurst or cold corned beef sandwiches. And then,
Well, like, I just on bread, right? I don't even think it's
Yeah.
a sandwich.
Bridget, this is just something I noted for being written weirdly. She chewed the beef and bread in her mouth, swallowed it, looked attentively at the small crescent its removal had made in the sandwich's rim.
Oh, I guess it is a sandwich.
She took a bite of the sandwich, is what it's saying.
Yeah, I was going to say, this guy really knows how to turn like 15 pages into 70 pages. It's pretty nuts.
He later says the liverwurst is gray, too. Which
Yeah.
sounds gross.
That sounds great. That sounds awesome, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, maybe it's supposed to sound bad, and like, wow, this Sam Spade's kind of a piece of shit. Kind of like how in, like, you ever seen that one Quentin Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Oh, well, it opens up and Brad Pitt's character is just like living in a trailer park, eating shit out of a can.
He's eating like dog food, I think.
Yeah, he's like eating with his dog, and he's like giving his dog like half of his Kraft dinner or some shit. Like, he's just living a slums life. So maybe it's just trying to similar vein as that. But this guy sucks. I still just don't like Sam Spade, so it's hard for me to really dig the story.
I also
part of it,
don't
but,
really
like,
know what his, like, I got, halfway through this week's assigned reading, and I was like, why is he doing this? This seems like a dangerous thing for him to be doing. Like, does he really want the money, or is he just like, this is what a private detective, private eye does, is like, get involved in this stuff where it's like, you don't have any answers, and you kind of just have to listen to what this woman is saying, even though she's, like, obviously not telling you the truth or the whole truth. Like, is it just that you... Because I don't think he's, like, a nice guy. It's not like, I just want to help you.
He's antagonistic to everybody. And, like, I don't see how he gets results. I don't know how anyone actually likes him, because every time he interacts with somebody, they say, whoa, man, cool. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, like, every interaction he has with anyone who's, like, remotely his friend, they're all like, geez, simmer down a little bit, man. You're coming in awfully hot. Like, what is the deal?
Yeah, you either leave with a bloody nose, or, like, you leave with your tail tucked between your legs for some reason because he said something mean to you.
Or you're like, why the fuck am I friends with this guy?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I think he's doing it for the dame.
You think he likes old Bridget?
Yeah.
They did
I
bone.
think he's a dog through and through, man.
But he also, boned Miles' wife, but he doesn't really like her, I guess.
yeah, he's just boning
says
her
he does.
because, he says a lot of things. This guy's also a liar.
Yeah.
He's also pretty handsy with Effie, his secretary. I don't think that there's a romantic thing. Yeah,
right?
I think it is just a sign of the times. But she's like standing next to his desk, and he's like putting his hand on her hip and like laying his head on her hip and stuff like that. It's very weird.
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah. But I do that today, and I get in trouble.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I've never done that. So what?
I was born 100 years too late.
Second third of the book.
Yeah.
We need predictions. We need ratings. Right?
So, okay, just where we stand is that I guess everybody's converging on the fire of the La Paloma, but also Sam is going to lunch with a police officer and also the district attorney. Both of these people want to talk to him.
All about how he's being a dick, and he's like, "Hey man, can you stop being a dick?"
That's what the next chapter is.
Well, I thought. Oh, sorry. I guess I read about it, but yeah, I mean, it's the same interaction he has with everybody else. It's like, why are you being a dick bag all the time?
It does seem to me like if I was in this situation, I would skip the lunch, right? I would go see what this fire's about. But I guess from what you're saying, he goes to the lunch.
He hates the policeman anyways.
Yeah,
and the district attorney.
We haven't met him yet, but yeah.
Why would we show up?
He's like he hates everybody. Like I don't get it.
Yeah.
Every single person though is truly just saying, "Man, easy. Why are you coming in?"
Yeah.
At 1,000, and he's not even like. Has he really detected much?
I don't know.
He's mostly just beating people up.
He breaks into rooms. He beats people up. He looks through everybody's shit. That's about it. Yeah.
But he hasn't deduced nothing. He hasn't entered his mind palace.
Well,
you know?
no. He went to Cairo's hotel room and looked through his trash and found the newspaper that had the La Paloma on it.
Okay, I guess.
That's the first real clue.
That's the first clue. Yeah, everything else is just... There's a chapter called Merry-Go-Round or something like that.
Yeah.
And the point of it was like they were trying to follow Iva, Miles' wife, to see if she murdered Miles, her husband, because she wanted to be with Sam, the main character. But that's kind of how this whole book is like people trying to find somebody else, but they're not where they're supposed to be. Merry-go-rounding is what they called it, which is kind of what this whole thing is like. So yeah, a lot of this book hasn't been Sam finding clues. It's been like, oh, I gotta go see this guy at the hotel where he told me he'd be. Oh, he's not here. Maybe he's here instead. Oh no, maybe I'll beat up this 19-year-old and do something else in the meantime.
I'm thinking maybe it's just a sign of the time where people's imagination wasn't very good, so they just had to spell everything out for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
They said to straight up say everything because they weren't thinking about nothing.
So
I just delete it when I'm reading it. I'm like, this doesn't.
So the vibe or my rating, I guess. So my favorite part of the reading that we did for this week was where the Gut Man was describing like the origins of this bird. And I think my favorite part in the first assigned reading, in the first section when we did our book club last week, was when Sam was talking about that story about that guy who like almost got killed and then left his family or whatever.
Yeah.
Because those are like little self-contained stories where it's like I can follow it, whereas everything else is just kind of like, we've got these people and nobody's telling the truth. They're asking for what they want. Nobody knows what's going on. So I'm excited for the conclusion because I think hopefully we get some answers on these things.
Someone's gotta give, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I think I gave like I don't know, maybe I gave it like a 6 last week or something. I'd probably give it a 6 again. I enjoyed reading it to discuss on the podcast, but if I was reading this like for my own fun, I would finish it because it's pretty short, but like I wouldn't be enjoying it as much.
Right. Yeah.
5 out of 10.
Yeah.
2.3 out of 5.
I think I'm on the same level. I think I liked the second third a little bit less than the first third.
Okay.
I think maybe it was just because in the beginning of the book there was so much like introducing new characters and like learning a little bit about their relationships with Spade and with each other and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty interesting. The second third where Spade is just kind of walking around more and I don't know, snooping. It's not as fun to me. Yeah,
because in the first third you get 2 deaths, and you get the reveal that there's an affair between what's his face and what's his face's wife.
A lot of scandal.
Which is pretty good. In this, you just get here's what the bird is, and I guess you meet the Gut Man. But
I liked the Gut Man's like he had a turn of phrase, like he had like a vocal thing, like a phrase that he kept using, like I like people who blank, or I don't like a man who does blank because of X, Y, and Z. I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah, he kind of gives off a little bit of like what is it? Godfather vibes or something.
Yeah. Well, I think he kind of respects Spade because he's not taking the shit. He's like, what do you want from me, and how much money are you going to pay me, and stuff like that.
That was something that I thought was really cool. Maybe my favorite part of the second third was when, like, the first time Spade meets Gutman, they kind of talk about the Maltese Falcon, but they don't really get like a serious answer on what it is or how much money it is and stuff like this. And Spade kind of has like this, like, I don't know, like badass moment where he's like, you have until 5:30 to give me an answer on whether you want me to help you or not, and I'm gonna go do something else. Right?
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what was said, but that was the gist.
I think that's what got him whacked, though. Or not whacked, but like
drugged.
Yeah.
Because he was like, okay, Gutman, you know what the bird is, I guess, but I know where it is, which he doesn't. Like, he kind of knows Bridget, and Bridget, I guess, says she knows where it is, but he also can't find her, so he really doesn't know where it is. But he was like, yeah, and like, it doesn't do you very much good if you know what it is and what it's worth if you can't find it. So, yeah, so that was pretty cool for him to, I guess he was also kind of deceiving him as to, like, I do know where it is and I could have it, but yeah. So I don't know. Predictions for going forward. Obviously this Paloma is important. They've talked about Hong Kong a couple times. I think Cairo and Bridget have been in Hong Kong together at some point. Mm-hmm. But the ship is on fire. I don't know who would have done that. My prediction is that the Maltese Falcon that they're looking for is not going to be what they think it is. So I think that they might, like, try to sand the enamel off or whatever. It turns out to just be like the whole thing was a red herring or whatever.
Oh,
all bullshit in the end. Yeah, I'm thinking it could be like that. But that might be cliche. But I think this might be where the cliche came from. You know?
Yeah.
Or maybe they hand one over to the Gut Man, right? But then actually Bridget and Spade keep the original one, and then they move to Tahiti. Or
I think we're getting a couple more deaths. I think 2 more people are dying. I think we're getting 2 characters are gonna die at least. I don't know which ones. I think 2 characters are gonna die. I'd put good odds on Bridget.
Yeah, there's not much use on Cairo being around. He's already been beat up twice.
Yeah, what does he do?
And everybody hates on him and is racist against him because
he's like Greek, right?
Yeah. He's Levantine.
Yeah, he's Levantine.
But they're always like Sam's going through his stuff and he's like, oh look, he's got all these perfumes and colognes and lotions.
I think
and
he's
stuff.
I think he's calling him gay and shit all the time. Like, yes. I think he hates him because
he's effeminate. Yeah, which does not play in the 1920s.
In 100 years ago.
Against the hard-boiled detective.
Yeah, the hard-boiled douchebag detective.
Yeah.
Sam Spade.
So, wait, do you think the Gutman dies too? I feel like the Gutman has to die, right?
I don't know if he has to die.
Or is the Gutman going to go to jail? Or is Sam going to feed the Gutman to the police?
Ooh, that's a
to clear his name, maybe.
Question. I don't know, man. I think I'd rather see the Gutman die. Because he's going to be like, as he falls off the side of the burning ship, he awfully looks a lot like a whale or some shit. You know what I'm saying? They're going to make a joke about him being fat when he's dying. They're going to.
He fell off the ship flabbily.
Flabbily.
He fell off the ship, fat ass, got him.
Do we know if Dashiell Hammett made like a series? I feel like a lot of these spy or detective novel writers have like a series.
Yeah, he did, but it's not with this guy. It's with a different character of his.
But to me, it seems like if this is a series, if there are other Sam Spade books, then there's more of an opportunity for the Fat Man to get away, or for them to discover that the Maltese Falcon isn't actually real and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think this would probably lend itself. I don't know how it ends, but I do think this would lend itself to being a universe of, because also sometimes too, like Bridget is like, oh Sam, you're so good at your job and so strong, and like you're introduced to like the lawyer Sid Wise, and it's like he's like, oh, I've saved your ass too many times, Spade, and it's like, okay, okay,
Why?
yeah, what has this guy been doing?
This guy
So yeah,
sucks.
I mean, there could be a universe beyond this, but I don't.
Yeah, ultimately, I don't know if I have a prediction about the actual Maltese Falcon. I'm hoping it is what they say it is. But I think Joel Cairo dies. I think it's kind of maybe becoming more apparent, and maybe that means it's not going to happen, or maybe that means it is going to happen, that maybe Floyd Thursby killed Miles Archer because he thought Miles Archer was there to kill him, hired by Gutman. So he kills Miles Archer, and then he actually gets killed by the real Gutman guy. Maybe that 20-year-old kid or something.
Wilmer is his name.
Yeah, Wilmer.
Also, Gutman's first name is Casper, which is interesting.
Ghost ass name.
Made a note of that. Maybe that means he's gonna die.
He's gonna die. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are three things that I guess we need to find. Well, we need to figure out where the Falcon is.
What
obviously.
the Falcon? Where it is? What it is? Why it is?
Yeah.
How
and
it is?
Who killed Floyd? Who killed Miles? Who set the ship on fire? Why is the ship important?
Yeah, I think this is. I've not read this, so don't worry about it. I think the crime guys, the Gutman crew, they're gonna get the shit first. They're gonna somehow have gotten the Maltese Falcon after all of this, and one or Joe or Bridget is gonna die, maybe both, and then it's gonna have some kind of tragic ending. Because I think it would be lame. It would be lame if they just got it. That would be pretty lame. I feel like we wouldn't be hearing about it if they just found it. It was a jewel-encrusted Falcon, and then he got away with the girl. That'd be kind of lame.
Right.
It would be, and I don't think that if you're Sam Spade, you can get the Falcon and then just be like, okay, I'm going to sell my stock in Falcon right now, and then I'm going to have $2 million, and then just like quit, because this is Sam going around beating people up and being a douchebag. So like, I don't think that he will get the money, because I don't think it would make sense for him. Like, having the $1 million, I think that he enjoys maybe chasing the $1 million and beating up people, but I don't think he would enjoy having the $1 million.
Yeah.
So I think
in the
he's
same place.
So I think he's not going to end up with it. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe Bridget double crosses everybody and gets away with it.
That could be good. Well, tell us what you think, because you're reading it too.
Yeah.
We're
finishing it next time.
At gmail.com. Right? Yeah, we're finishing this shit. This book will be done, so read the rest of it.
And suggest what you want to do next, because we just got one more week of this, and then maybe we'll probably take a week or two off, because we haven't decided or ordered the next book, but we could do this again. It's pretty fun.
I'm feeling fantasy book. If there's like a one-off fantasy book.
Yeah, a little bit lighthearted sort of situation.
Nah, murder.
Fantasy murder. We could rebrand this whole thing to be like, okay, we're gonna read Harry Potter 1 through 7, or hey, we're gonna read all of the Game of Thrones books or something. That could be our
they announced the new kids for Harry Potter. The new Harry Potter kids have been announced for the newly announced, newly named HBO Max, which that's the new name. It was Max.
It's not Max anymore. It's
HBO Max now again.
Jesus.
It's like Diddy, but is gross now, so it's like Max. HBO Max.
Like Diddy. That's funny.
Yeah, they just called him P for a while.
Yeah, Puff Daddy.
I saw that they announced the kids. Indeed.
They look like kids. That was kind of my whole. It was like, all right, whatever. And then I scrolled on later. I'm just like, whatever, who gives a shit. But we're gonna get a new one. Are you interested?
I don't know. I think maybe I'm interested a little bit. I'll have to see. Like I'm skeptical about it because I do like the original movies. So I'm afraid if I watch this, it'll be like, oh, kind of disappointing. But you never know. Maybe it'll be good.
My issue with
Go ahead.
I was gonna say my issue with this is like it's a. I think you were gonna get into this, Trent. My issue with this is it's set up as a TV show, and I think each season is a year.
Is a book. Yeah.
as I understand it.
How long of the season?
Right, it's not even out yet, right? And then we're gonna have, I don't know how long a season is, and then we're gonna have 7 seasons of it. Like, so I am not interested because, like, by the time the show's over, I'm gonna be far too old. I mean, right now I think I'm too old to be watching because these are like kids, right? I don't know how old you are your first year at Hogwarts, like 12.
Hey, but it's HBO. Maybe there's a little bit of like sex going on between the professors.
Maybe you get to see Miss Professor McGonagall like
Getting railed.
by who else we got?
Khal Drogo's in there for some reason.
Khal Drogo.
The squib. That's also pretty derogatory. She was like coming up with them slurs.
We should have known. Mudblood? That's bad. The Half-Blood Prince?
I was gonna say the same thing though. I think it's probably good that they have kids playing the kids in this because they're kind of, if everything works out right, you know, they release a season every year. The kids are going to be the right age for each season, which is
they screwed this up.
Yeah, wasn't the case for the movies.
Yeah, well, they screwed this up with Stranger Things recently, where, like, you know, they're still not done with that, and they're supposed to be, like...
The kids are, like, 24 or something.
They're supposed to be sophomores in high school at this point, I think, but...
One of them is married. At least a few of them are married, probably.
Yes. Another thing, too, I guess, to think about is, like, the first couple Harry Potters are kind of lighthearted, more so than the later ones. They get pretty dark. Like, I guess they're all kind of dark at the end. It's like, oh, wow, there's some incarnation of...
We're cutting people's ears off.
Yeah, there's some incarnation of Voldemort here. But yeah, dude, later in the school, it's like there's been a fascist takeover of Hogwarts, and we gotta have our own internal school resistance. And, you know, this time we're not even going to school. We're just going around collecting Horcruxes or whatever. So it gets pretty darker later. But that's another thing is, like, do I really care about, like, the kind of low stakes first couple seasons of this where it's like Harry learns to ride a broom? No, I don't.
Yeah. That's
you don't care about the points to Gryffindor? You don't want to see the sorting hat? You don't want to see the moving paintings or the staircases that move around or other things that move?
No. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it. Yeah.
All right, man. It was Memorial Day a few days ago. What you got, Seth?
Well, I'm thinking about Salazar Slytherin, obviously, fallen soldier.
Yep.
Frick Gryffindor.
Sirius Black.
Nearly Headless Nick.
We got Rowena Ravenclaw.
Cedric Diggory, rest in peace.
Helga Hufflepuff.
My boy.
Yep.
Cho Chang.
Was Cho Chang killed?
Probably? No, she's alive.
Okay.
One of the Weasleys.
Yeah, Fred or George.
Oh, man. I went to Columbia, Tennessee, where I grew up for Memorial Day. And I have, like, I did a couple things. So I saw a film that maybe we could talk about in the next pod. Because what I want to, or maybe we can talk about this other thing on the next pod. Yeah, we'll talk about the movie on this pod, then we'll talk about the other thing on the next pod.
Okay.
So I saw a film. This is 2 films in like 2 weeks for me.
That's crazy.
This
film that I saw was Final Destination Bloodlines.
Oh, nice. Dude, I didn't want to see that one, but I'm interested if it's good.
I haven't seen a single Final Destination, and so I was asked if I wanted to go see this, and I was like, no, I'm good. But I've heard about it.
I've never seen one either. It wasn't really scary at all. It's kind of gross and
just people getting killed, right?
Yeah, it's not like, oh my god, there's a spooky ghost or spooky killer. It's just like these people get killed by everyday things in gross ways. But the whole idea of Final Destination is like you can cheat death, right? But he won't like it very much, and he's gonna come kill you somehow. So I think like the original Final Destination movies was like, as I understand it, it's like there's a group of people, maybe they were going on like a spring break trip or whatever, and their plane is supposed to crash, but they like missed the plane, or somehow this crisis was like averted, and so death was supposed to get them, but he didn't. And so now he's going to like kill you any way he can. And that's by like making
he was counting his chickens before they hatched and he got pissed. That's his fault, man. The chickens weren't hatched yet. Don't be counting them.
He should have done better. Yeah. So in this one,
have a contingency plan if you're death, right?
In this one, there's like this big event that somebody stops, okay, where a bunch of people were going to die. And this means that all those people who were supposed to die, this was like 50 years ago, a lot of them have like gotten married and had children and stuff. And so Death is working his way through all of those people and all of those like families who weren't meant to exist. And so now we're like to the very end. So we're like at this original person's like grandchildren. And that's
ridiculous.
So it took him like 50 years, but he finally killed all those people. And now he's
getting everyone down. He's genociding these people from this one plane crash. Is he going to move on to the next thing on this? Like, is he only doing this or is he multitasking? Does he have more than one project going on?
That's my thing. He's not very efficient because, like, you got to think there would be people who are cheating death every day.
What's this man's Gantt chart look like? Like, what is he doing?
He needs a project manager, that's for sure.
He needs Effie Perrine.
Yeah, he needs a good secretary. He needs a good administrative assistant.
Yeah. So, there's a lawnmower.
Delegate, man.
There's a
what
trash
are you
compactor.
doing? It took you 12 movies to get all these guys. And women and children, and it's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
No, but I heard it has like a 80-something% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like there are some parts that are like quite funny. Like not the actual deaths, but it's like at a certain point, all the characters have like come to terms with the fact that this is real, and so but they know the order in which everybody's gonna die. So they're like,
how?
So it goes in the order of which you were supposed to die during this like tragic event, and then it goes in order from the top of your family tree to the bottom. So like the older siblings go before the younger siblings. And so there's this one part where like they're like they know who's gonna die, and so they're like walking around, but they're all like, guarding this person in the middle because these other siblings aren't gonna die until that sibling dies. So they're doing everything they can to protect that one sibling. And it's like there's this one scene where they're going to go through a revolving door. And this one guy is like so scared to go through the revolving door because he thinks somehow he's going to get killed in the revolving door. And it's pretty funny.
Because he gets killed. And does he get killed by the revolving door?
No, he does not get killed by the revolving door. He gets killed by, I don't want to spoil it, but he gets killed
somewhere else.
Yeah, somewhere else.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I have a list of the Final Destination movies ranked based on their tomatometer.
Tomatometer.
Tomatometer. So, number one is Final Destination Bloodlines.
So this is the best one.
This is the best one by far.
So this is the only one you got to see.
It's 92%.
If you're interested in this film series, I think this is a good one to do, I would say.
Number two is Final Destination 5, which came out in 2011, 14 years ago, with a 63%.
Wow. That's a pretty disparate gap.
Yeah, just wait, man, just wait. Final Destination 2 from 2003 got a 52%. Final Destination 3 from 2006 got a 44%. Final Destination 2000 from 2000 got a 49%. And then The Final Destination from 2009 got a 28%.
Wow.
That's
I'm surprised they made a second one after that.
Movies, dude.
Yeah, so I wonder what they did to tweak with the formula. Like this one was like very funny at points. So maybe they really did that up. And like a lot of it takes place like you're at like a Memorial Day barbecue or whatever and somebody gets killed.
So it's topical.
It's not necessarily Memorial Day, but you're at a barbecue, it's outside, there's like a trampoline and people are, drinking beers and they're tiki torches or whatever. So it's like it's really not very scary. It's like kind of absurd that it's like this thing happens. So I wonder if maybe it was trying to be scarier back in the day.
So do they?
Now.
So like,
maybe.
Squid Games here. So if you're interested in like you cover your ears, Trent. If you're like actually gonna see this movie
I'm not gonna see
or
it.
whatever. So like, do
No
the good
fan.
guys win? Squid Games.
Nobody wins.
No,
Against
no,
death.
you can't win against death.
So the ending, like, so everyone dies, regardless.
Most everybody, yes. So if you're directly involved in the bloodline, yeah, you die. But like the people's spouses and stuff don't because they're not part of it.
But, like-
Except actually a couple people who aren't directly involved with the bloodline do get killed, but that's because death apparently gets angry if you try to mess with him. So like some people are trying to help him out and they get killed sort of as collateral damage, even if they're not involved in the bloodline.
That's brutal. I was on Death's side until he started killing innocent people.
But like, so I still don't. Like, he's got to be slided in more than just this one plane crash. He's been around for a long time.
This one's not a plane crash either. That was just my example. But anyway, there's like a building collapse. But anyway, yeah, you would think that he would be faster because this whole movie takes place over the course of a week or so, and so like even if he had to kill 1,000 people or whatever, like he could do that pretty quickly. You shouldn't have like grandchildren by the time he finally comes for you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're right.
Well, tell us something. FKAthePod@gmail.com, FKAthePod everywhere. Thanks for listening.